And we need some music. Hey Naz, sorry getting started here, pulling up everything. And last but not least is music. Wait, loud. I listen to this a lot. Let me find something else. No. How about you? Seems all right. I am good. How are you, Ness? This is a little strange. I'm a little bit. I got a The timing is immaculate. Why is that, Kareem? I got this riser for my monitor so I could slide stuff underneath it. If my monitor has obnoxious stand to it, it's freaking huge, so the legs are actually coming off of it. But I'm like sitting taller now, so it's a little funky. You just finished watching Scott Christian Sava's stream back to back. Who's Scott Christian Sava? Oh, Jesus. Is that another artist? Scott Christian Sava. Oh, he is an artist. How was his stream? Hi, Pauline. Hi, sisters. Hi. Uh, how was his stream? Any good? I feel like there's very few artists that stream on YouTube. Hi, Chikage. Man, he's got more gray hair in his beard than me. That's cool. It's a chill stream. Wish more would stream on YouTube. Yeah, I hope it becomes a trend. I mean, it seems like uh, Twitch is always turning their landscape into something terrible. But then at the same time, YouTube really doesn't do anything to like make live streaming nicer. Like literally just adding a creative section for artists would make a big deal, a big difference. And they don't do any of that. I'm not sure why. Come on. Trisha's just not it in my honest opinion. Other than that, how you been, gang? Pretty good. Still like unpacking and uh moving stuff in here. So there hasn't been as much time for drawing, which is upsetting. But I'm finally oh, and then we had this I don't know if anybody's if seen the weather in California. We've been having this rainstorm the past 2 days, and I can see that there's sun out right now. So, or it's been the past 3 days. But yeah, there's sun out right now. So excited for it to be less cold. It's still cold right now. Oh my God, my hands are not listening to me. Okay. It's gonna end up. So you're drawing clothes today? Yeah, we're just before Poline, we're gonna be doing some like basic clothes. I have 6 images here. This one, trying to still do different perspectives. Are kind of just basic applications of clothes. The body's still showing, you know. I'm gonna zoom out on some of these pictures. Just I just dropped them in real quick, so. But like this one, like that's just the upper body is basically all direct to skin contact, but the pants are dealing with folds and stuff. So just some basic stuff just to like get a little taste before we really jump into it. Um, that's too short. Shit. Okay, how far are we going down here? Maybe not that far apart. How come you only use other people's art as references? Uh, I don't. I do it a lot on here because I think it might be more interesting to the viewer, and I've been studying the figure, and I'm not quite sure if it's okay on YouTube to be studying naked people. Um, like literally having photos of naked people on stream is okay. I think I've seen people do it, but I'm like afraid of being flagged. Um, hey, baby boy, you're okay. Best of luck with moving. Thank you, Kareem. It's all done. We're all done moving. It's just all of our stuff is in boxes, um, for the most part, and so we're just trying to finish up that last bit of like organization. You shouldn't choose references based on what some viewers in chat might prefer to see. No, 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 no. Not not the viewers. I mean YouTube itself. Um that's not right. Like it won't get flagged by the actual system or whatever. I study that stuff in my own time. Come on. I just meant for this stream. sometimes I will do that. Although that won't be much of a problem now, once we start doing clothing, because I won't have to worry about that. No, I was saying, sorry, it might be being intentionally confusing. I was saying that before we were only studying nude figures, and a wholly clothed or unclothed figure, like fully nude figure, photo, might be flagged by the YouTube. The other reason why, maybe this will make it easier to understand. The other reason why I study from artists first generally is because it's like um it's like training wheels for artists, right? Studying from reference has two different levels. When you study from another artist, you're learning how, well, in a sense, because you can't see what their reference was, and a lot of the times they just know knowledge that you don't, and they've come up with it from imagination. But you can understand how they've designed things, because it's another artist. So you see simplifications, and design there that you wouldn't see in a photo, right? And then when you study from something like a photo or from life, you now have the raw experience. So now you need to know how to design what you're seeing, and you try to take what you learn from studying other artists and bring it to, the photos or from life that you're studying. So studying from other artists is like heavy training wheels. Studying from photos and life is like light training wheels. Or no, I guess it'd be the other way around. Heavy training wheels on. God, I'm trying to think. That was a terrible analogy. Heavy training wheels. I'm going to stop that analogy. It's easier to draw from another person's artwork than it is from photos in life. Put it that way. The reason being is that they've done all the simplification and design for you. Sorry. If the artists make resources for art practice, then yeah, but there are artists online who do not want people to use their artwork as references. Are there really? What would be the... I didn't know that actually. What would be the reason for people not wanting other people to study their work? Is that the reason? Like they just don't want people to copy their style or something? Let's see, inside, outside will be higher. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Maybe I am ignorant about that. Whenever I upload my sketch on Tumblr, people reblog it and tag it as art reference when that's not at all what my sketches are meant for. Boo says what? Yeah, I understand. Usually see them say, please don't trace or reference my art. I understand when people like repost your artwork and things like that. A lot of people don't like that, right? But I don't think I've ever heard somebody say like you can't use it for studying. Are they just afraid people are going to repost it as their own. I would understand that. Or where that fear would come from. Can't. I feel like I made him too wide. I think it's fine as long as they don't claim the art as their own. What is this calm? Do you mean the music, so what? Artists have all right to not want their art traced and copied. One, you unknowingly inherit whatever mistakes and flaws they might have skill-wise. Oh yeah, I have no problem respecting that if that's the case. I don't actually know if any of these artists that have chosen said not to study from it. It feels like a very unique request, I guess I would say. I honestly have never heard that before. And I would of course respect that if that were the case. Unknowingly inherit mistakes and flaws they might have. I suppose that could be true. You do have to be careful of that if you're studying, like, because when you are I mean, it's okay. Let me break this down on a couple things. When you're studying from photos or from life, right, you're making your own mistakes. So just by studying another person's work, as long as you can tell that it's better than yours, you're getting a benefit to that. Like, sure, you might, if you study them way too much and they make a ton of mistakes on certain things, you might inherit some of those mistakes, but you're going to make way more mistakes on, studying for photos and life. Or I not even necessarily would call them mistakes, but oh, that's a really difficult thing to talk about. Man, you guys are bringing up complex issues. You're still learning how to design, whether or not they make a few mistakes here and there, and that you inherit them. You know, even as you're studying other artists' work, you have to use your best judgment as you would in any other drawing. Sometimes change things if you're studying, you want to, like, if I wanted to change the position of the arms or change how the hands looked or something, like if I see an actual mistake, I might change it. So, and when, the fresher you are as an art student, the less you're going to see. But it's not like mistakes that you make in art like that are not permanent. there's a good deal of unlearning that you have to do regardless as an artist, as much as you do learning. And this is some weird Halloweeny music right now. Okay, we need to change this. Why? Original mistakes do not steal. Yeah, but studying from another artist is not stealing. What you do with it, if you try to pretend it's your own, sure, that would be stealing. You're trying to learn. Even when you learn from like a teacher, right? You are inherently borrowing their design language, their skills, until you can like walk on your own 2 feet. That's why I try to introduce the training wheels thing, and I'm failing at that, so I just gave that up. But you're using like other artists that you study as like a support language to help bridge the gap between what you will eventually make um, and what you're studying now. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was very confused by these hands for a second. If I develop bad habits because my art teacher, I can at least call them out on it. I don't think there's this like inherent fear that people are going to learn poorly. Like as your eyes progress, because there are artists that I liked when I was uh, newer to art, that as I got better, I realized were not as good. So there is, I suppose, a danger of studying, somebody who is not as good, or studying, not every piece of work from every artist is a masterpiece, even if they are a master. So you could study like a poorly drawn piece from a really good artist too. But you're not going to inherit um, anything that's not easily reversible, if that makes sense. A lot of art has to do with knowledge, really. Like if you lost your hand, for instance, um, and you were a master artist and you had to train yourself with your other hand, like it's gonna look all messy because you've never used your thing before, but all the knowledge is there, so it's still gonna be closer to the skill level of what you have done. Um, I really would not be afraid of inheriting another artist's mistakes, because it's not gonna hurt you in the long run at all. It's just gonna deter you from studying another artist who could help you figure out design decisions that you otherwise wouldn't have known, or might have taken you much, much longer to understand. My God. I'm just gonna do this. Hi, Silver. Hey, add context on thing. I'm trying to practice using my non-dominant hand. That's not a bad thing to practice. It might be a cool little experiment. Pinterest has always been my master, and Google. Have you ever had an art teacher, Pauline? The video I wanted to recommend is Another Follow-Up to Iterative Drawing by Psychra. All right, I'll check it out. you're used to drawing left-handed. My main point is that if an artist vocally tells people to not use their art as reference material, that should be respected. Simple as that. Yeah, of course. I absolutely agree with that. I don't actually know, you know, uh, if an artist specific, like any of these artworks, if they don't want, I would assume not. It seems like what I was trying to say earlier was that it seems like an odd request, um, a unique request. Like I can't imagine a lot of artists will say that. I don't know a single artist that has said that. I know artists who have said like don't trace or use my work, but to not use it as reference for studies and stuff is not something I've heard. So it seems like a unique request that is I don't imagine I will see many in many places. But of course, like if that was the case, I would absolutely respect that. All right, kind of have something going here. Let's try to draw these pants. Although I think we're gonna need to tuck it in just a little bit. Sometimes I'm afraid to open my Pinterest account in public because how random the pictures can be. Or your self-taught phone line. Well, that's not a bad thing. It's nice to have a teacher though, if you ever get around to it. At least for like small, short bursts, you know. All right, we got just gonna say it stops here, which means we'll stop here on the other one. Whoop. Oh, I forgot the butt. Erase out the leg. Yeah, I think reference their art in the sense that incorporating their art elements in your own art, but not using it as practice. Um, yeah, I think that is what the fear is, that you're gonna take what they have, adjust it in some very slight way, and then call it your own. Which there are people that do that, to be fair. Um, which is kind of like it's a dangerous precedent because, I mean, obviously you don't want anybody to steal your work, right? But we are all making iterations on stuff that has already existed, you know. Um, and there are similarities between people's artwork that are entirely just built on coincidence of the fact that they've all referenced the same like movies or shows or manga, whatever reference you use. Um, no. Most of the people, most of the people who post that, I have seen that before. Don't trace, reference, copy, or steal. Um, and artists who are skilled who don't want people to use their art as references, they find it cringe and embarrassing because they're not good enough. Yeah, I honestly think most people who do that, well, it's not a broad brush, so there are exceptions, but most people who have that like hard, don't use my artwork for anything line, um, are usually people who are not um, professionals in the sense that they are not as skilled. People who are not yet professionals are way more concerned with people stealing their work, whereas people who have been in the, you know, working for a while know that, as irritating as it is, that theft is so commonplace. Not that it's excusable by any means, but it's just like you would have to have an army of lawyers to police your work. Um, like the favorite artist I mentioned the other day, Ray. Uh, I don't know how she does it because even I wouldn't be comfortable with this, but like she posted her whole, she has it for sale, but she posted her whole ass art book high res online. You know, nowadays they can be used for AI art training, um, and it just like I'm flabbergasted because it's not something that I would do. Um, and I think that the more you're just engrossed in the art side of things, rather than concerned that people are going to take your work, you care about that stuff less. And it's almost by necessity that you have to care about it less because it will drive you insane, right? Because there's just always people who are going to steal your work no matter what. Um, Again, not that it shouldn't be respected if somebody says, please don't use my work and whatever, but I just find that people who say it, like right on their profile or something, are typically people who concern themselves way too much with it. Um, there's exceptions to that. There are people who have been stolen from so much that they're just like tired of it. Um, you know, or like Four said, people who don't think that they're good enough. So they have some sort of like uh, inferiority complex. I feel for artists, you know, that get stolen from, and feel that they can't share their work or really have people enjoy their work in any sort of fashion. Because a lot of times when people really enjoy your work, they want to study it. Uh, Pauline, I've been studying art for 8 years. I wish I had an art teacher when I was starting out because I had to learn some things the hard way. Yeah, that can be really frustrating. Because art teachers definitely speed up the process. Getting that immediate feedback, to know what you did wrong, and then seeing someone like draw over your work. Um, there's really no replacement for that. You, of course, can get there on your own. There's no reason why you can't. It just takes longer because you don't have that feedback. So you gotta do that yourself, unfortunately. But it's been done by many people before, and it will be done by a lot of people after that. So don't shy away from anything because of that at all. Hey Tara. Hi Jack. Hi Shams. Nice to have you guys here. In my case, it's like, okay, but don't blame me if all your OCs suddenly have an underbite. There's comes a point where a lot of artists just go, well, fuck all of you, I'm not going to share my stuff anymore. Yeah, I mean, the AI stuff definitely did that as well. I I think honestly, we can protect our work as much as we can, but like if and I know that, we almost have to share it publicly, otherwise we can't get any kind of um, you know, following or um to like market ourselves, right? So you kind of have to share your work. It's this something that you can't avoid, I guess. So you either kind of have to become part of the system or just create art for yourself. Um, Again, it doesn't excuse people for doing annoyingly bad shit and screwing over artists, but that is how it is. And we can fight it as much as we can, like we're doing with AI and stuff, but you still have to keep on creating. And I think at a certain point, you know, a lot of, this is why I said, like, most people who say that aren't generally professionals, because professionals just like ignore that stuff. Part of the time is because a lot of the stuff that they work on is like private IPs. Um, but even that stuff gets stolen too, so. It's a very murky topic. I knew this was going to take me a long time. That's why I only chose 6 pieces of reference. I may not even get through that. The hair on this one's really cool too, but I'm gonna keep him hairless. Don't want to forget the shoes. It was very hard. Yeah, no, I imagine it has been. Um, I've been through a lot of school, but even when you're in school, a lot of stuff is self-taught. It's just you have that feedback sometimes from a professor, which makes it a little bit easier to handle. I got my art stolen a few days ago, and thank you for giving me some ice on the stuffed Zephyr. Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks. Um, I don't know necessarily if it's advice or just like it's just dealing with the realities of these situations. It because to me, no, I mean I'm the one saying it, but like it sounds like shitty advice to be honest. But like it's also like, are you just gonna stay angry and not create anything because people are stealing your work? Because it does happen to people, and it's just like you you can't fight it all. Like there are teams of people that just go out there, find work, and then they create uh, phone cases, pillows, blankets of your artwork. They'll try to like sometimes they won't change it at all. It'll just be straight ripped from your work, and sometimes they'll try to change it slightly and pretend it's your own. I don't honestly know which one is more aggravating. Um, and I'm sure, if I get better, it'll happen to me too, and I'll be pissed about it. But like you I you have to come at it from an approach that is uh not really accepting of it, but just like don't you can't let that stuff get to you. Um Otherwise you'll never create anything. You'll try to avoid it, but people are always gonna steal, you know? And when when you do get the opportunity to stop somebody, um, then you take those opportunities, It's a hard thing to deal with mentally, especially for artists. We already get shit on quite a bit, so to find out our work is just straight up stolen too. And I mean, that's what AI art is doing, just straight up anyways, but there's a machine running near my room, so I can barely hear what you're saying. Yeah, with four, why is there a machine running? I had my writing stolen once. They put it up on Amazon. What offered me was they didn't even try to change it. Oh, offended me. They didn't try to change it. Yeah. A lot of times they won't. Why bother trying to change it when you can just get away with, you know, not changing it? That was a cool one. Okay. This one's gonna be harder. Which one do I want to do? I feel like the one from the side, we're not gonna get a lot of that, so let's do that. Hey, Rafa Mari, how's it going? If there's one thing I've always begged people to do is watermark and don't upload high-res versions of your art online. Yeah, that second one especially. AI is now known to trained to filter out watermarks, so I don't think that's a big deal as much anymore. That whole like I haven't done it yet because I don't really have any finished work that I need to protect at the moment, but the whole you want to glaze and nightshade your art now. Glazing is that thing that protects it from getting picked up by the AI scraping software, and then nightshade is new and it's poisoning the AI data. So that's lovely. I think everyone should do that. Poison the crap out of it. Hmm. It's a mistake, right? Oh, see, four, this is what you were talking about. It has to be a mistake. It looks right. Uh, the one in the middle has the cleanest fit. I actually might have to switch because I don't know if I know how to fix this. And it would be weird. Yeah, this is wrong. Mr. Cocoa Butter Man, can you stop drawing for a sec? I need to go take a dump. This is interesting to focus. Just take your phone with you to the bathroom like a normal person. Oh, I was saying, I think this is something that you said, just learning people's mistakes. So if you look at this figure, if anybody else could own it, maybe I'm crazy, but the chest and the shoulder, this doesn't work, right? Because his back is like this. So you wouldn't, if you look at the, God, am I not drawing correctly? His back is like that. So you would not see the front of his chest. Also, this would start to turn in perspective. Yeah, it's not just the shoulder, it's showing his back and his front. So what you're seeing is like this of his back, but then you're seeing that of his front. And then yeah, it's a weird, something weird is happening here, and I'm not versed enough to fix it. I'm gonna try to do it over here and still be okay, but no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have noticed these things if I was a younger artist. But drawing this one thing is also not going to hurt you as a young artist. Because you're also going to pick up small things that are good, like the way that they design the face or the shoulder or something. The what is the word? The cumulative like total of studying from artists, like good artists, most of the time, you're learning knowledge from them, and you will pick this kind of stuff up eventually, as long as you're not just like mindlessly studying stuff. Like the as a young artist, you may not notice, sure, but you're gonna learn stuff from other sources, and then you're going to understand that if you tried to draw this again from memory, or you tried to draw another pose, you're going to end up fixing it somewhere down the line. It will hurt you so bad you will die. So I'm going to pretend that we're seeing, what does this want us to see him? So I think in this accident, like we're seeing this shift and that shift. So they're trying to do, this is a really great way to show motion, by the way, if you're doing a composition, is to show three people or more slowly doing the same thing. So we can tell that this artist is wanting to go like this way, and then it's almost like a complete side view. And if we were gonna do that, you're not gonna see all this back. I don't know. Maybe we can just do this real quick, just to not do that. Like that already looks better. Although I still feel like there's a perspective problem here. I learned anatomy from the hentai artists on Twitter. No joke, they got the best anatomy study. It's funny. I've actually said that before. That if you really want, if you really want to know how to do anatomy, some of the best artists to study out there are hentai artists. They're so good. Like they know anatomy, and not only that, they know how to design it really well, with lighting and line. Um, it's no joke. They really do know their stuff. I think we talked about this before, where I said like some of the best artists out there who know anatomy really well. Not all of them are hentai artists, but they all typically draw uh, um, like raunchy scenes between their characters, right? Like sensual scenes or something like that, because if you want to draw those scenes, you need to be really good at drawing the figure. So they practice that stuff a lot. Not that you all go have to look up head dye or anything. Um, the legend himself, hentai gave you a new power set. Not gonna lie, so much hentai have atrocious proportions. That's true too. You really, again, with any other reference, you have to be um, uh, still knowledgeable about your stuff. And in the same way that you can choose a very poor reference, like this one that, again, it's very, very good. There's just like one tiny mistake there. That could really throw you off if you were a new artist. And we're still gonna try to attempt it here, but you still have to be careful about what you study. That is the one like benefit, I guess, studying from like life, because photos can be altered too. Studying from life, you have the completely raw experience. Um, you don't have to worry about that. But, then you also don't learn anything about design. Um, so, I mean, nature does have some design elements in it, but you don't want to always follow what nature gives you. You have to design it. Uh, Sorry, you guys have been asking a lot of questions. Apologize if I missed some. Just ask them again. Just gotta find good ones to study. Yeah, exactly. Um, um, there's actually one. I feel weird getting that out though. I'll let y'all discover your own artists to study. There are a few that are very good though. They're not hard to find. I guess I'm old school. I initially learned anatomy from anatomy books and medical videos. Yeah, Audio Cafe. A lot of people do that still, I think. Um, uh, I think people who use a lot of like stylized stuff, like that, are especially into things like anime, um, when you want a more realistic approach, typically you'll use more realistic resources. Not that people in anime don't study realism as well, because they do. Unfortunately, skeletons is an essential core structure for anatomy. It absolutely is. The more you study the skeleton, the better you're gonna get at the figure, for sure. Because it informs all of the muscles that you add on. I might have drawn that hand a little too. Not bad. Man, it is crazy though how things can look pretty right and they'll be very wrong. Let's draw something female, I guess, because I'm afraid we're gonna run out of time. Uh, Dedication to the cause. Honestly, never thought to learn like that. Oh, from anatomy books and medical videos. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole profession for people who do medical drawings. So it's a really good thing if you want to get into it. It's not my forte, but or my to my particular taste. But there's people who are very successful. All the medical anatomy books, all that stuff. They need people who illustrate those. Let me take the standing break real quick. I can also look at your questions and stuff. Oh man. Nope. I should visit them more. We don't need to do that anymore. Jack, we don't need to go to the morgue. We have tons of books, studies, and totally unnecessary. You really want to feel dedicated and do what was it, Da Vinci or Michelangelo or somebody who did that? Just get the right permission. Hentai artists have the best anatomy. Are you sure about that? uh, oh, and that's when you said they have atrocious proportions. Yeah, no, not necessarily hentai artists, but like I said, people who draw a lot of what is the right word? Smut seems like a bad word. People who draw like romantic sexual engagements of people. They typically have very, very good anatomy skills because they draw people naked a lot. Uh, I would say if you were looking at the vast majority of it, sure, there's not a lot of good ones, but at the same time there is a lot if you just look at how many there are. Um, there's one in particular that I really love. I don't know if it's a he or she, um, but they are quite amazing at that kind of stuff. Actually, I think I could name two. And then there are a handful of artists that just draw that kind of content, and that I really love their work too, including my favorite artist, Ray. Um, she does that stuff as well. Saw another YouTuber, and he said he did a lot of that, and it did help with anatomy. Oh yeah, I would say it helps a lot with designing anatomy, because um, the one thing you're not gonna get necessarily from studying other artists' work is that you don't have the knowledge that they have, right? They've studied anatomy, so they're able to make those stylization choices and everything. Don't get me wrong, they studied from artists too and everything, but they also did their own studies of like studying anatomy in almost like a realistic fashion, and then they stylized it. So you don't have all of their knowledge, and studying from them is not necessarily going to teach you, unless it's literally a drawing of anatomy, like the breakdown of the anatomy. Studying from them is not going to teach you the breakdown of anatomy. So you need to complement those studies with other, like the actual breakdown of anatomy from life or whatever. Like you would be a poor imitation if all you did was study from other artists, and never like tried to break down or figured out the anatomy yourself. Like you would essentially, if anybody's ever read that, a lot of people get introduced to art with the book by Betty Edwards with Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. It's not the best book, but the one thing that she talks about that I think is crazy important, is that when you first start learning to draw, the reason why everything looks the same is that um, you're kind of drawing symbols of what you think things are. So when you draw an eye, that's why people always draw the same eye at the beginning. It's just like this ellipse looking thing with a circle in it, because that's what you know is the symbol of an eye. Even if it's right in front of you, that is what you will draw, because that's what you've prescribed to your brain, is like this is what it is. So if you just drew from artists a bunch and you didn't break down anatomy for yourself, you are literally just updating your symbol language, right? It's like a language in your brain. You have these basic symbols when you started, and now you have these advanced symbols. Like here's a symbol of a leg. You know that it has like the roundness that goes here and it sticks out where the knee comes in. You don't actually know the anatomy. You've just updated your symbols of what it is. So if all you did was study from other artists, you are just a poor imitation of that, because you don't know what that looks like when it turns in space or anything. You're just copying the symbol and trying to make it work based on the information that you know. So you actually have to break down anatomy. It's not going to teach you that. It's going to be a supplement to that. So if you do both, you're going to get a lot out of it, because you're going to see why they made the simplifications that they did, why they designed things the way that they did, because they knew, you now know, oh, there was a muscle there. There's a tendon here that connects to the knee. Um, you know, so you have to do both. So does that have to do with the human man? We see things as human mind. We see things as objects first. Um, I don't know, actually. I think, yeah, I don't know. I think our mind just sort of simplifies things, um, at the beginning. Like you think you know things that you don't know, kind of thing. Find that a solid knowledge of the actual anatomy helped me push and stylize too, because it's easier to push and stylize the thing I already have real world knowledge of. Yeah, exactly. That's how my brain accepts it. My brain lacks the necessary synapses. I'll shorthand or stylize with simple shapes to represent the things. Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff like I'm convinced I'd need a scientist to like study this or something, but I'm convinced that the reason why it takes a while, because it's not just like knowledge, right, that gets you there as an artist to make a really good piece of work. Because if it was simple as knowing anatomy and then drawing it, like anybody could do it really, really quickly, right? You'd read a textbook about anatomy, and then you would draw it and you'd be done. Like you just study it a little bit and you would be done. You'd know how to do it. I'm almost positive that your brain is like your subconscious picks up a lot more uh, than your conscious mind. So over time, through that repetition, as you're drawing, the figure in different ways and everything, you are picking up things, small things that you are not aware of. Which is also why, as artists get better and better, it's hard to teach things that you learned subconsciously. Like you learn the knowledge and you get better at it and everything. Um, but I think there's a lot of subconscious things that you pick up too that are not really things that you can't really articulate. Like, oh, I learned this and this is what helped me get better at drawing the torso. So it's like, no, you you just drew it a bunch of times till that information really solidified. Uh, and then you were able to design it better and better. Not too long ago, I learned that there's no actual solid proof of what is instinct, and the word has religious origins. It doesn't really explain why animals and humans do certain things. Blew my mind a little. Yeah, I mean, I think when we talk about instinct, like knowing where to do certain lines and stuff, where artists get really cool designs, where it just like comes out of nowhere. Instinct is just a learned process. Like we are that's why I tell people too to like study from the artists that you really like, because instinctually when you put all that shit into your subconscious, all the little design decisions that those artists you love make, you're subconsciously like taking all of that in. And when you get to a certain level, you're going to start making those uh, instinctual design decisions when you start doing that, except it's going to be all this merged information into your brain, and there's no real way to say like, oh, I'm doing a line just like Takeshi Obata here. I'm doing a line like Ray or whoever, name whoever artist you want. It's all like merged subconscious information, and that sort of becomes instinctual based on all the other information that you have that is conscious information, like anatomy and things like that. I have 50,000 favorite artists. I don't have time to study all of them. um, I mean, uh, you like stack knowledge on top of each other, right? You have to choose what you wanna learn from. Obviously, you're not going to study 50,000 people all at once. Boy, I love art. Yeah, no, me too. It's very fascinating. Our brains are very weird. Um, and it is just really interesting to learn about. And that's why it's art and not a science. I mean, there is science to it. Um, you know, it is kind of like, what was it? We mentioned that, someone mentioned that last time. It was like, magic is when we, the science is so advanced that we don't understand it. So in many ways, art is like magic because we don't really fully understand how we learn this and like why it all registers the way that it does. There's no formula that necessarily works. There are science pieces you can say this is how you might learn better because we've studied this before, but it is magic in a sense because we really don't know how it works. Just like in Witch Hat Atelier, yeah, exactly. Like I said, that manga was um, very awesome. But it is kind of cool to think that we're kind of magicians in a sense, because science can't really fully explain why we learn, we absorb the way that we do, or can't fully explain it. I'm sure it could explain many pieces of it. Science cannot explain why artists keep arting even though they can't get rich from it. uh, Audio cafe. It's kind of liberating for difficult poses. Sometimes you look at a part like what is going on, but then it's like, oh, I see a muscle and I know how it connects to X. Harder poses become easier because of the knowledge of how the parts connect and interlock with one another. Oh yeah. That's why I love if you look at TB Choi's work, and this is specifically like um Eastern artists, like a lot of the Asian artists and stuff, they've made I love studying them because they break the way that they break down anatomy is all interlocking pieces. So if you look at something like TB Choi's artwork and um, they have like the muscles that kind of plug into each other, right? They're like um, Krenz Kushart does this. It's all like plugged in, and if you like turn these shapes slightly, right, you're still gonna get um that little like plugged in feeling, right? And it's very, very cool. All like it's like it would almost be like a buildable action figure if you could put these pieces, separate them, right? Um, and I love building the figure that way because it not only do you get really cool designs out of this, um, it's like it's built to be designed. Whereas with if you stick with real anatomy, you have like all these like little. I'm gonna draw this really shitty, so sorry, but you have all these little like bumps and ridges, um, uh, and it gets super realistic. Again, there are people that like to draw like this, so I'm not like making fun of them or anything. It's just not my preference. I like this Eastern style of doing stuff. Finding the gestural rhythms in those interlocking parts of the body is fun. Yeah, yeah. And it's a lot, it feels a lot easier, um, to be honest. When you get to this stage, because obviously, when you're a beginner, you're starting out with like, um, gestural stuff like this. Give them really big feet. uh, right. Um, so it's like you do get to this point eventually. Um, yeah, it's a crazy pose, but very cool. Uh, I saw a short where they show what response each famous person had to the moon landing. Apparently, Picasso said it doesn't matter to me, and they got people pissed. Picasso was a horrible person. The only people reason his art was popular is because of art critics in the 1800s trying to save themselves, and they thought photography would kill art. Oh yeah, I remember that time period. Uh, you don't like the banana taped on the wall? Uh, yeah. I mean, there are different classifications for art. It's a little frustrating almost because obviously you can't compare a, a banana on the wall to like a piece of concept art done by a professional that is just absurd. Um, they're kind of incomparable because they're not really the same art. I almost feel like we need a different. I mean, I know one's called concept art and everything, or one's called illustration or something, but it's still it almost feels insulting to compare them or to put them into the same boat. I don't know. That's a difficult topic. Andy Warhol. Marcel Duchamp brought a urinal to a gallery show and called it art. What's wrong with the illustration? Oh no, nothing, Mr. Cocoa Butterman. I'm saying comparing it to like the banana art. Banana on the wall art is just like absurd. Like there's obviously a hell of a lot more skill that goes into creating an illustration than taping a banana on a wall or bringing a urinal uh, to a gallery for whatever freaking reason. Yeah, I mean, needless to say, there is actually some modern art that is cool. Like when they do really interesting installations. Um, but I think we all know when it's like really uh uninspired or just lazy art, like the banana on the wall. versus like, something that actually took effort. The rich art world for you. Yeah, exactly. That girl reminds me of a character from Fate Zero. I would imagine that probably the artist probably did artwork for them or something. Oh, screwed this up really bad. I was trying to make the proportions a little better, but I made them much worse. Sorry, to fix this. No. I've always just having this discussion of modern art and I'm just vibing. It giving me an opportunity to draw um without having to say much. So it's not a bad thing. Although I did screw this up really badly, so it's okay. It's fine. Which one shall we do? The dancing pose the best. Although this is a hard pose.
You're not in town right now.
An all white canvas that sold for 15 million. Oh my god.
9 a.m. Do you want even pickup or do you want us to?
It is.
Okay. So
The dancing pose is actually really amazing. I just
is that okay with you?
don't think I'm going to be able to do it justice, but we'll try.
Yeah, it's $50 for delivery and it's $50 when you want return. Okay, thank you so much. So I will send a confirmation for the 14th 9 a.m. delivery. I mean, even pickup. Thank you. Hi, Lisette. I'm returning your call. From Ghost TV. Hi. Yeah, so you want to even pick up for the cargo bike? What works for you this week? Yeah, that works. Okay, we'll let you know if anything changes, but we'll send a calendar invite for Friday at 9:45. Oh, you want to return both of them? That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, well, thank you so much for supporting us. We'll see you on Friday. Okay, great. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Oh yeah, I like the first one. Honestly, all these poses are really good. This is a really amazing sheet compositionally and pose wise. You could study any of these and be a happy person. But I like the foot there, the foreshortening. That's really cool. Ooh. You gotta walk home in the darkness, so cannot chat for a bit. Be right back. Oh man, be careful for. Any advice for making a comic for future reference? I'm currently working on one. Oop. 33 pages and it's time consuming. Currently on the clean lines on Photoshop, and yeah, it's all on Photoshop. What did Forrest say? Work each stage in batches, sketch 5 pages, then line art them. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely do like thumbnail the entire comic so you can make sure you have an idea of how it's gonna go, storytelling, and how it's gonna look. By thumbnails, I mean straight up tiny things. Like you could draw like this and break all your panels down like that, and um, however you want to do things. I don't know. However you want to set it up. That looks more like manga. I don't know what you're if you're like more the Western side comics or manga, but they do storyboards and stuff. So I would definitely, you don't need to storyboard it necessarily, um, but I would definitely thumbnail the whole thing for yourself. Hey, Toki Doki, welcome back. Comics are fun though. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so now too big. All right. Oh, I'm doing it. Slowly but surely. Leave that there. Uh, I have a story idea where since humans can't realistically find a life-sustaining planet, they send out capsules containing DNA and stuff into outer space, hoping someone would reach some life-sustaining planet and start life there. That's one way to colonize space. Um, I mean, if it just sends the DNA, how would it survive? Or do anything? That's interesting and to take place over a very long time period. The DNA will adapt and evolve according to the environment it's in, right? What if it have adapted by mutating with the um the native species? I think this is gonna be a bit smaller. That might be better. Make that come forward a bit more. where the figure is. Wow, this is really detailed. Heck, a little too big. This is actually turning out pretty good. How's it going, Rio? Been a while. I feel like you haven't been in here for a little bit. Oop. Need a few more. Let's do this one. Need a few more minutes of music. Whoop. My dad is calling me. And it's coming through on my computer. Oh, there we go. Did you see that thing about how they grow fungus on the outside of the space station, lichen specifically? I feel like I heard about that. I don't know much about it though. Wait, it's gonna go at an upward angle. Okay. Back of the shirt's a little funky. All right, there we go. Kind of works. Around the boxiness off of that and that one. I'm quite proud of that one. That was hard, but we did it. Clothes are going to be very fun when we actually start getting deeper into it. Bye, Jack. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it was a really fun pose. Um, I'm excited to do more like actiony people in action, not just like resting and stuff. I feel like those more extreme poses will help me with the like relaxed poses as well. But yeah, not bad for a start back into clothes. It's not like I completely forgot about everything. Oh, I thought you were leaving, Jack. I'm sorry. We're gonna wrap up here in a minute. Rio, been a rough week. Got sick with COVID and became addicted to Sea of Stars like a nerd. Oh my God. Well, fun Sea of Stars. I'm sorry about the COVID. Yeah, I'm still wearing my mask everywhere because I just don't want to get it. Um, Not that you weren't wearing yours. Everyone's making Jack leave. You can stay. Although we are gonna sign off here in just a second. I'm all finished for today. I don't have enough time to do another one. Um, we did 4 pretty successfully. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely excited to get more into the clothing aspect of things. It already makes me feel like the figures are more interesting. Um, so I'm excited about that. And that way I'll go back to, nude figures and stuff too, like I said. We'll find ways to incorporate it into projects. Silver, I thought he went on a journey, his training arc. Training arc to the bathroom. Yeah, Toki, moving poses are fun. And this is a really good artist. I feel like I want to remember that I found this artist and I didn't really like the rest of the character sheets that they had, but I don't hold me to that because I feel like this is the only one that I saved. I'll have to reverse image search it to see um, if there's more of this because this is really good. It reminds me of the Atmosphere books a little bit. But yeah, that was a tough pose. Hers is, or his, whoever did this is much better than mine. But I learned a lot from doing it, so it was cool. Hero's Journey Bathroom Battlefield. That would make a good like indie game. You know how they had um oh my God, what game was it? Travis Touchdown. What game was that from? No More Heroes. And you actually there was like a mini game for him to go to the bathroom. Turn that into a whole indie game. Are you guys making a song now? Oh my God. All right, guys. That flute. Oh, that's a real thing? The flute vid? Okay, apparently I'll have to look that up too. All right, guys. I'm gonna head out. We'll be back Friday? Friday. We'll be back Friday. Um, and then it smells nice in here all of a sudden. Yeah, we'll be back Friday to do some more drawing. I think next week I'll probably bring back a gaming stream as well. Um, I just wanted to focus more in on the drawing because I've had less time with it because of all the moving. Please do classic meme. Okay, I will look it up. Titanic theme played horribly on recorder. Oh, I think I've seen that meme just on TikTok and stuff. Turn on oh, Discord server when? Oh, is that what won? I didn't actually look at it yet. View your channel. So yeah, looks like Discord won by quite a bit. 31 people voted though. Well, one was me, so so that's pretty good. I'll leave it up for a couple more days, see if anybody else votes. But yeah, it seems like most people are Discord. It's possible that we could do both in the future if this grows into like a bigger community. Discord when is a good question. I would say by next month. I don't want to put it off too long. I want to create it sooner rather than later. There's a poll in the community chat about whether we should do a Discord or Reddit community. You could always go to secret third open Slack. Oh God, please no. I don't like Slack. Discord just has a lot of fun tools and makes it easy to have like community events and stuff if we wanted to do that. So I understand why it's kind of the clear winner. Not the biggest fan of the AI scraping, but as Four pointed out, Reddit is going to do that too. So can't really escape it. We can only protect our artwork and move forward. So I suppose we will do it like this. But yeah, sooner rather than later with the Discord stuff. Probably by next month I'll start it. Like I said, it's not going to be very complicated. We're going to make a couple rooms and then we'll improve it as we go along. I'll try both. Dang, I dislike AI. We all do. I didn't know there was a vote. I voted for Discord, so I don't have Reddit and don't want to make one. I do like the private server compared to it being public on Reddit. Yeah, I mean that is a slight benefit too. You don't have individual people coming into the website to like steal stuff. I mean, anybody, it is private, but anybody can join the Discord, so both sound good. But yeah, it seems like we're gonna do Discord, and you know, if in a future date we want to create a Reddit thread too or whatever, that would be fine as well. But definitely seems like Discord is the way that everybody wants it at the moment. Trying to decide if I should hide my gaming activity. Because you know, Discord tells you when somebody's on like a game. Y'all are gonna find out exactly what I play when I'm playing it. Invite only might be smartest for now, otherwise you'll be prone to spam and bots. I didn't know I could make it invite only. What? I suppose I might have to ask you guys. I don't know. Wouldn't invite only just get? Oh no, because the spam and bots would just click on the link. So I'd have to personally check off each one essentially. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Tokidoki. I'll look into it. I won't bother you guys with a bunch of questions. And if I do have questions, I'll just ask you in another live stream. You generate a link that expires in a specific time limit. Okay. I can be a smart individual at times. Me too. And then other times a very, very big dummy. There's also originally what I had before Toki, it was a permanent open link. So you could just go to my like links uh um web address. It just like has all my links to YouTube and everything, and you could just click Discord and it would invite you. So no one, oh, I didn't know that. Changes your server address regularly. So bot can't click. Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, I could definitely do it that way if that's the case. I don't want a bunch of bots in there. I think we did have a couple last time too. And I guess I was thankful that my mods were there, because they stopped some stuff from getting on there. But yeah, I don't want you guys to be spammed or anything. So we will be careful. Okay, guys. I gotta end this though. Thank you all for hanging out. We'll be back Friday, and I'll get to work on organizing the Discord and stuff so we can have that up sooner rather than later, like I said. I'm amazed how less spam I've seen in these streams. Yeah, something to look forward to for spam. When you know you've made it. Haters and spam, right? All right. Uh, have a good next couple days, guys. We'll see you in 2 days, Friday or one day, I guess. We'll see you Friday. Bye bye. Thanks for stopping by.